Now I'm going to take the same brush right through some of our Hansa yellow and more titanium white. Any leftover clear gel, and that's not going to hurt anything because there's clear gel up there already. You don't want too much, of course. In fact, what you can do, hold on, let me get my color and I'll tell you what you can do. What you can do is you can take a paper towel or shop towel. Don't use a paper towel, use a blue shop towel or rag, and just lightly wipe off your both your sky and water area. That way, if you've got too much of that clear gel, that would remove that extra texture you don't want there. I'm going to start here at the horizon, and you'll see that it instantly mixes with what's down. I'm going to go ahead and add a little white to make a nice, bright, beautiful spot in the sky. Work my way out very quickly. I want to begin to shift into more of the yellow ochre tones. Isn't that pretty? Wow. Ooh, I like it. It's not a very big sky today. Oh, tell you what, before I forget, we got these colors. Let's reflect them in what's going to be the water area. Yellow's so pretty. Let's go ahead and grab some red to go with that. Mix those together just right here, because red is a safety color. I use red as a really nice boundary between any blue. And you'll see, lift away any of those hairs. You'll see that, you know, that creates just a really nice atmosphere, kind of like a little bit of depth to the sky where you're beginning to see that sunset. Before we go any further, let me take some red. There we go. I want to slide around. Red and blue. Yeah, there's a little yellow in that brush, but there's not a whole lot. So I'm going to create that beautiful purpley tone, like so. Right up here at the top, I'm going to paint that in. This is purple too, the red side. That brush is pretty dirty. I've got a clean dry brush here. You could stop and wipe yours out really, really good. But it's nice to have one for light, one for dark. And I'm just going to give that a quick soft 2-second blend. I'm not even going to bother blending this water because I think we're just going to cover it. Now, filbert brush. Filbert brush, I'm going to quickly create a cloud or two. So I'm going to take some red, white, makes a nice pink, and some ochre. I think that'll be very, very, very nice together. Oh, and it is. Look at that. A little more white, though. A little more white, and then, yeah, looks like a cloud. Now, I've got that 2-inch brush, the one for dark. I'm going to mix up some red, blue, and white. Cool. That'll work. Fun. A little more white. Do I like that? Maybe a little. I can always go darker. I can always go lighter. Really, pretty forgiving. I'm wiping out some of the paint. And back up in here, I'm going to create, using a 2-inch, I mean, my goodness, you could use whatever you want. I've got the 2-inch right here. I'm going to use it. Creating a distant tree line. I've got a lot of trees to paint today, as you know from the image of the painting. Doing them here with a 2-inch is going to save some amount of time. There we go. So that's my background mountain in. It's fairly dark. If you want to lighten it up, and probably too textured anyways, you could take just the shop towel and literally just rub it. So that lightens it up just about a shade, if that. It also removes some of that texture of being stamped on there. You're just rubbing it, soften it. And you have the added bonus of you can't mess it up now. It's stuck on the canvas. So there you go. Now I'm going to add a little bit of sap green to this color. So it's purple, white, you know, plus sap green. And I'm going to begin to tap that on. Like so. Just tap it on. Now, I'm going to turn my brush horizontal, as you can clearly see. And that will help to form, because I don't want like giant evergreens, you know? That'll help to form some of that. Now we can raise up a few tops to those trees, but let's not do it just yet. Let's go ahead and paint in some of these trees. I'm going to start with some red. You can see I've taken a moment and got some more red, some Hansa yellow ochre, way more Hansa than that. It's okay to have it marble mixed like so. And I'm tapping the corner of the brush because really what I want to do up here is just create some spots where we can see those trees. Now, this is going to be a little bit, well, all over the place right now, but we're going to come back and we're going to make it all look pretty and better. But I don't want to spend, 2 hours up here trying to paint a whole bunch of millions of little trees when you can get in here and do it relatively quickly and then come back with, a filbert brush or something, or a paper towel or just whatever to try to smooth some of this out. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm just literally tapping in some of these trees. I'm starting in the middle because that way I've got room to expand, go up and down. The middle is a really good place to start. So you can get them there, then you can get them anywhere. You'll know the scale. You'll know what size they need to be and whatnot. I'm literally just letting the brush do the work for me. You can see I'm creating some trees. It's not perfect, but it's not a bad little tree. I'm using the 2-inch because that's what I've been using the whole day, but you can use a 1-inch. You can use whatever you want. Fan brush, whatever. Filbert brush, if you're working on a smaller canvas, you would just be using a filbert brush. This, of course, is an 18 by 24. But you may not be using that. You may be on something else and want to do a smaller brush. Okay. Add some color there. Now I've got larger trees over here, so let's not fill that area in because that'll just be hard to deal with. Now, let me wipe this brush off. Real quick, I want to take a second and let you know that I've got full-length DVD or digital download lessons available in the description. These full-length lessons are high quality and they show you every single brush stroke with a lot of close-ups so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. It's really important that you practice the right way and you don't practice the techniques the wrong way and have to unlearn it. So I highly suggest, if you're able to go ahead and try a couple of these lessons because I really think you'll enjoy them and I believe it'll take your art to the next level. I've got everything from techniques to beginner series to a whole bunch of kind of intermediate and advanced, which even if you're a beginner, you can totally do those as well. And I'm constantly updating and adding new lessons, so be sure to check back if you haven't in a couple weeks or a month. I check back every month. So anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for your support, buying the brushes and the DVDs and the paint and everything. It really does help out our channel a lot. And it keeps me, able to make more videos and more paintings and more lessons and all that good stuff. Thank you for your support. Let's get back to the video. Now I'm going to take my fan brush. This is when I had the colors, the red colors. So I'm just going to take some sap green right into that. Take some brown, black, and a little blue. What I'm going to do here is create a beautiful color for my evergreens, not too dark. I'm going to wipe out most of that on the paper towel so that when I come up here, it'll mix with my underpainting and some of my highlights too. So anywhere, first of all, let's not just blast over some of my more finished looking trees because some of them don't look very finished. That one there may be a little solid, so that would be a good one to put an evergreen on top of. See, I'm not just doing it randomly. Oh, a little more paint. I took off a lot of paint thinking, it's going to mix. It didn't mix as much as or mix more than I wanted it to, I guess. I want it a little darker is what I'm trying to say. That evergreen lives there. All I'm doing is just tapping kind of with the side of the brush. Throughout the years, I have painted evergreens just about every way you can imagine. Right now, this is how I paint most of them, which is I just tap, and I sort of then turn my brush sideways, and I sort of just bring the tree out. Kind of pushing and pulling, just bringing that tree out of the blob that I create. Create a little blob. Taking my 2-inch with for dark, and I'm gonna load it up with some red. Obviously, when I call out these colors, this also includes some mud. I'm gonna take some red, some blue, some white, and if you don't have mud in your brush, take a little burnt umber. If you do have mud, then don't worry about it. Red, blue, and white, and a little mud. Okay, and that should get me a color that, about like that, maybe one shade darker than the background. Now I'm going to underpaint some of this background, and what this is doing, a couple things. It's lowering the tree line here So it's coming down the hill and around. I think that's appropriate. There we go. Fill that in. Good. And then I'm going to tap here, and that's going to create a little bit of a, let me go a little lighter, just take some white and yellow ochre to add to that, white and yellow ochre. If it shifts to the green, that's fine, it won't shift much. I want a softness, soft warm brown back there. Ooh, that's it. Still got the flavor of purple. And that way there, boom, I'm just gonna lightly work that out. And I'm just trying to, oh, and down here. I'm gonna take some yellow ochre, burnt umber, sap green, Hunza, just real marble mixed. I'm just gonna underpaint what's gonna feel like some grass, just smushing the color. No particular way. You don't have to paint grass, just smush the color in. And then black and brown for the corner. Create that beautiful dark corner is so important in a painting. Okay, well, that dark spot there is not necessarily great, but that's okay. I'll take some yellow ochre and I'll just paint right over that, yeah. Again, I'm not painting grass, I'm just mushing color, just mushing color. Now, I know it's kind of unfinished looking. Let's leave it to sit because we got a few areas that I need to wipe with a shop towel. Coming up here, left side. I'm gonna take the shop towel. This painting relies pretty heavily on the shop towel for the trees. I'm going to take the shop towel, fold it over a couple times. I'm going to wrap it around my finger like so, okay? If you don't have shop towels, you can do this with a paper towel, but you're going to have to stop and get a new paper towel a lot. You can do it with a cotton rag. You can do it with a t-shirt and do it with whatever you want. But what I'm going to do is mostly, not so much up here, but right down in here, you see it's dark on dark. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come just to the outer edge of my dark, my tree color, and I'm going to begin to scrub. Like this. Push down really, really hard. All right, now we're gonna lay down some color for the grass. We could do the trees next, but you can see I've actually reset the palette, cleaned it off, and got some more paint. So there's some of my Hunza yellow, a little yellow ochre red, and then just a teeny bit of white, not much, again, for the reason where it'll get kind of chalky if you put too much. Oh, let's take and wipe this off. Where I know I'm gonna put my paint. Wipe it off. Starting in the light. You notice when I wipe, I'm always starting in the light and working out to the dark. Okay, now I'm gonna place this in. Boom, bright, beautiful highlight. I'm gonna do kind of a combination, if you've ever painted with me before, of like my push-up grass and just kind of between, a combination between that and honestly just kind of scrubbing it in, because I don't need a whole lot. A little more yellow ochre as I go back into the shade. You want it to kind of get darker as you go back into the shade. Boom, okay, that'll work. I even like that little thing. You know, sometimes the fun stuff, just let it happen, you know what I mean? Just let it, ooh, that's red. It's a lot of red. It's definitely red. Let's go a little less red. I'll leave it. White and Hunza yellow. And now I'm gonna begin to lay the paint down a little thicker. Don't put it everywhere, just leave in dark spots. Leave in dark spots. Okay, clean dry. Oh, hang on. I will use a clean dry fan, but let me go to the other side while I'm going. Grab some yellow and white. And a little more white because that is not as bright as it should be. There we go. It's okay to have texture. Pretty little sap green in that. Green and red make a beautiful, wonderful brown. Yeah, that's burnt umber. You could use it if you want. I like to mix brown. I can't help it. There we go. Okay, that's kind of pretty. Actually, I need a little more green. There we go. Okay, now the secret to this is a dry brush, clean brush. So keep a paper towel in one hand ready to continually wipe that brush. So what I do is I'll start, now back here I don't want too much. I'm just actually gonna just tap like you know, oop, see? See, that's exactly what I was talking about. It's exactly what I did not want to happen. Thankfully, oils are forgiving. Continually wiping the brush on the paper towel. So I'll go tap, 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 wipe, wipe, wipe. Actually, I'll put it down here. And I'll wipe it down there because I've got a camera down there. There we go. Now we're going to highlight our trees. I'm going to take some of my yellow, my white, not too much white, only a little, and our Hansa yellow and yellow ochre. Hansa yellow, yellow ochre, a little bit of white. Okay, right up here, I'm going to start with this one because this one's more yellowy, that one's more red. I'm literally going to just come up here and begin to touch and to begin to allow my brush to bounce around. If you've never painted comma strokes before, then the real secret to it is holding the brush way at the back. If you come up here and you start doing this, it's going to be very tight. In fact, I can't even, I can't hardly do that. It looks weird. Come all the way back and you'll see that my stroke looks so much more soft, so much looser, freer, not as rigid. I'm just literally using a nice bouncy kind of overlapping, I'll call it a comma stroke because you're making a shape more or less like this, but I'm also doing it in every direction, up, down, sideways, backwards, every direction, you know what I mean? Almost like X's, like an overlapping X stroke like you would use to blend your sky. It's kind of a similar stroke to that. The technical term for this, I believe, would be called scumbling. It is a real art technique, and this is a normal way to add leaves to a tree. But that's kind of pretty. Ooh, that's kind of pretty. That's kind of pretty. Stand back and look at it, because you're never going to be able to tell close up. Stand back, take a look. Now, if it's not going right, all you need to do is take and blot that area with a shop towel. You got too much paint down. This will stick. If this is not sticking, something's wrong. You know what I mean? Look how easy this is sticking. The other thing is I've got a lot of paint in the brush. You hear me talk about I've got more paint than brush. What I mean by that is there's so much paint on there, I don't see the brush underneath. And that's how you know you have enough. And yeah, you really do. You really do need that much. All right, now we're gonna work on the water. So I'll just take a filbert brush and one for dark, and I'm just gonna take and drag my colors downward that I've placed up here. You know, just drag them down into the land, or into the water. Come on, we're nearly done. We're nearly done. It's a lot of work to do these. You don't know. You're like, oh, this is easy for you. Well, there's a lot going on. It's not just painting. There we go. Yeah, pulling it down. You know, yeah, it's pretty dark down here anyways. Let me just get a little bit of burnt umber red. It's already there on my palette. I just want to boop, 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 put a little bit of that in there. Yeah, even a teeny bit of blue. I don't want to spend all day on this. A little blue there, just to add a little beautiful. We had some blue up there in that part of the cloud. Over here, add just a little blue. Not much. Not too much, or really that will turn green. But green's okay. Not too much green. Little green's okay. What happens if you get a lot of green in your reflection? You can just take red and mix right on top of that, and it'll go away. It'll just turn into a beautiful bluish, or not bluish rather, but purplish brown. Don't lose all your highlight. Now, I'm going to put in my ripples basically for the water here. So to do that, I'm just going to take some white, and I'm going to let's take a little yellow to start. White and yellow ochre and Hansa yellow. Nothing else. Preferably no mud. If a little mud sneaks in, what are you going to do? Come back here. Boom, hit that nice bright white, yellow highlight just to represent colors there from the background or the sky or whatever. Beginning to create some ripples. And see, that's what's nice about the dark. You can incorporate it like so, just like this. See that? And I want there to be movement in this creek. And so I'm literally incorporating, I'm physically taking some of the dark and dragging it into the light. Remember, nearly completely dry, we wiped it all off. But I'm just taking that and running it like this. Don't go in the middle yet, because you know that could get eaten up with light. Eating up the dark with light so easily. But as I step back, yeah, see that? Within just a moment or two, you really get a nice little watery effect. Now that we've got the foreground established, I'm going to just wipe that brush out good and clean. Just grab a clean one, it's really easier. I'm going to come and I'm going to feather some of this. Now it's looking too sharp. You wouldn't know until you get the foreground in what the background should necessarily be. So you just come in here and muddle it a little, soften it a little. It's not quite as sharp. Now I stand back. Is that good? Yes, I think a little teeny bit, just a teeny bit of my Hansa yellow, because I see so much of that pretty, it's actually Hansa yellow and white. Because I see so much of that in there. Wouldn't it be pretty just a sprinkle? Haha, there it is. A little bit of that there. That's pretty. Now I'm going to pick up a clean, dry fan brush. And no walnut. I almost went into the walnut oil. I don't think I want to do that. Let me just pick up some of my leftovers. Red, yellow, little green. And I'm just going to literally touch. Just touching and crunching upward slightly to create some softness of the grass around the rocks. Now be careful here. We are working in shadows. We don't want to bring too much highlight. A little won't hurt. Oh, as I look down at the monitor, and that's the same as standing back 6 feet. So with your painting, what you want to do is step back 6 feet away, go across the room, look at it. What does it look like? Because that's what's going to tell you. You can't tell when it's close up. Some of those same colors over here. And I just want to pop in, yeah, some more of that grass. Hey, if you don't, you can actually stick some grass up in here, kind of like in between the rocks as it kind of grows. Yeah, yeah, why not? Yeah, let me stand back. Yeah, that's about right. It really is about right. It's amazing what you can do with a little. Don't need a lot, just a little. Yeah, no, let's not mess with it anymore. Okay, let's go ahead and paint in. I'm going to use my liner brush now. Wow. I'm going to take some of my leftover brown, red, black. Lighten it up just ever so slightly, not much, just a little, with some yellow ochre and white or mud, whatever you've got on the palette. I don't mix typically with the liner brush. And so again, it's not just black, it's not pure black. That would be too dark, but I'm going, well, I'm going to darken up just a little more. But I'm going to bring in, there we are, a few tree trunks so that it doesn't feel like there's nothing happening. Now that's a mistake there. I'll show you how to correct it. Okay. Boom, thousands of little tree trunks. Clean, dry. 1/4-inch brush. I'm just going to pat it. There we go. In fact, I'm going to pat all of them just to integrate them or incorporate them into the painting a little more, perhaps, than they were. Because the liner brush is so thin, once you touch it, it just disappears. All right, let me take some leftover yellow ochre, sap green, a little white, I guess, some Hansa yellow in there. I'm just taking what's on the palette, And these are colors that I have really for my grass. And I'm going to pull up and do some pull-up grass. All you do is you sort of begin in the circular motion and you touch down only during part of the circle, and that creates that blade of grass wherever you're touching down that I'm removing. It looks like I'm going in a full circle, which I am, but I'm only touching down, where I want that blade of grass. Really, I'm just trying to touch down at different angles at different times. But you can see what that does is it just instantly creates that feeling of detail. Now, as my brush is running out of paint, I'm going to go to the left because that is just about the right shade of bright and dark to go in this area. Just create a few blades of grass growing, real tall grass growing up across there. I think it's pretty autumn time grass. All right, well, that wraps things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out our Patreon, our paints and brushes and full-length lessons. Of course, the links are in the description down below. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. It helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.